Okay, so if you want to stick around, we're going to be working on the 8 extraordinary channels with the Rejuvenation series. And I'm just checking something real quick because maybe I asked a question to Henry before I started, and then he texted me back. But I didn't get the text because I was way over there teaching. So I'm checking, and I've gotten my answer, and we're good to go. Okay. So for the Rejuvenation series, I mentioned last week each of the exercises has their opening and closing exercise that's specific to the rejuvenation. So we're going to be working on that today, okay? And then potentially shaking. Shaking is so much fun. But the opening and closing is fun too. So let's go ahead and start. For the Rejuvenation series, each opening and closing begins with the feet together, okay? Let's go over the mechanics first. So for the opening, the feet are together. The arms are going to sweep out to the sides. They're going to come up above the head. We're coming up onto the toes, if that feels okay to you. And then we're going to bring the hands down to the breastbone, not touching, but at the level of the breastbone. We're going to pause. Then we're going to turn the fingertips down, traveling the palms down to the lower dantian. We're going to take another little pause. And then we're going to release. Okay, so we're not working on the breath yet. We're just working on the mechanics. The arms are sweeping out to the sides. We're coming up onto the toes, if that feels good to you. Once the palms come together, we're going to go ahead and let them come down the midline to about the level of the breastbone. We're pausing. Then we're turning the fingertips down, making this little triangle pattern, and then allowing the palms to guide down to the lower dantian. That's that spot in the forefinger rest beneath the belly button. And then we're going to release. With the breath, inhaling, the gaze is traveling up with the hands. We're exhaling as we come down this midline to the breastbone. We're going to take an inhale before then turning the fingertips down. Exhaling down to the lower dantian. Inhaling again. And then exhaling as we release. Let's keep going over it a few more times. Inhaling, the gaze travels with the level of the hands. Exhaling, as the hands pass through the eye line, the gaze follows until past, we don't want to be pointing down, we don't want to be looking down. We're just going to let our gaze stay soft. We're inhaling. Exhaling. In. And out. So we're inhaling. Exhaling. In. Out. Inhaling and exhaling. Okay, so we're inhaling when we go up, we're inhaling at the energy centers, and then we're exhaling as we come down and then pass down through the energy centers, if that makes sense. The next point, or the next little element of the exercise, is that we get to tighten the perineum as we're inhaling and then relaxing the perineum as we exhale. So as we inhale and come up on our toes, we're tightening the perineum. Exhaling, loosening the perineum. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Still tightening the perineum on the inhale. And then exhale as we release. Okay, so that is the opening. Let's go ahead and do a closing. So for our exercise that we did last week, the wave, if you remember our closing, we ended the exercise in this position. So for here, a closing would simply be taking the hands out to the sides, sweeping that left foot to the right and bringing the hands together. Now, classical closing is simply coming all the way up on an inhale with the hands together, up above the head, up onto the toes, and then exhaling down, inhaling at the level of the breastbone, exhaling down to the lower dantian, inhaling, and exhaling. Okay, so classic is this sweeping all the way up on one inhale, and then similar to the opening, passing through these areas through different inhalations and exhalations. The modified version, if you have low blood pressure, or if you haven't eaten, or if you're just feeling a little wonky that day, feel free to take a moment here. So we inhale up, exhale, and then continue our journey all the way up. So we'd be breaking it up into two parts. Once again, this is best if you're feeling like a little off that day, or once again, low blood pressure or postural hypotension, or haven't eaten and feel a little faint. Remember, you don't get points for pushing through the fainting. That's not how it works in medical Qigong. If you're feeling a little off, you want to work with your body. Okay, you don't get extra points for flopping over and hurting yourself. So we have our opening and our closing. Let's go ahead and add in the shaking, and that way we can practice the opening, the shaking exercise, and then the closing. I really want to do the shaking. Okay, so for our opening, our feet are together. We're inhaling. Remember, tightening the perineum. Exhaling as we loosen the perineum. Inhaling into the breastbone. Exhaling down to the lower dantian. Inhaling and exhaling. For the shaking exercise, we're going to open up now, hip width, shoulder width apart. You want a nice, stable, relaxed stance. You're going to relax the feet, the bottoms of the feet, allowing the body to sink just a little bit, and then keeping the entire body released. You're going to start bouncing at the knees, generating a little bit of momentum. Trying to keep everything in the body relaxed, including the jaw. As you feel more comfortable, still feeling grounded, go ahead and increase the momentum. Letting everything go. You may feel some clacking in the teeth, especially if you can keep the jaw relaxed. And while you're increasing the momentum, increasing the tempo of the vibrations, you're going to keep the breath nice and slow and even. I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm shaking my apartment a little bit. You keep shaking until you get to a place that feels good to you. And you hang out there for a minute or so. If you've done this exercise before, and if you feel fairly confident that you're not going to fall over, go ahead and close the eyes. Remember to stay grounded enough that you don't bounce away. Remember, you're increasing the velocity, or the speed, the rate of the vibration. But the breath remains nice and slow. And then when you're ready, you're simply going to take away the momentum from the knees. You're not going to stop quickly. You're going to gradually allow yourself to coast to a stop. If your eyes are closed, you allow them to open. Maybe take a minute to settle in. See if there are any lingering sensations. And then you get to close. So the arms are going to sweep out to the sides. You're bringing that left foot to the right. I'm going to do the modified version. So I'm going to inhale up to about the level of the breastbone. And then I'm going to exhale. Inhaling all the way up. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. In and out. So that is the shaking exercise and the opening and the closing exercises for each of the different modules that we're going to be doing with the Rejuvenation series. So quick recap, the opening and closing, I was going a little slow and I was hanging out up at the top a little long. In the actual exercise, when you're doing it on your own, please move with your breath. Meaning, as you come up, you should be theoretically moving slow enough and coordinated with the breath enough that once you get to the maximum point of inhalation, you're ready to start transferring into the exhalation, okay? So instead of hanging out here and breathing in, breathing in, breathing in, it should be inhaling, 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 and then transitioning into that exhale, okay? And then once again, the tightening and loosening of the perineum only during the opening and closing, and it goes with the breath. And why do I keep talking about the perineum? I'm making the face because it's not what I would normally want to talk about, but remember, the Du channel and the Ren channel, they both deal with the perineum. Their channels both go through there, and by tightening and loosening that bottom area of the torso, you're helping to create extra movement, extra direction for the chi. And then last point on the shaking exercise, it seems like a really simple exercise. It's not. You're trying to get the body, the tissues, the physical to move quickly, and you're trying to get the breath to stay nice and slow and even. And I think of it a little bit like as if the body is earth and the breath is water. And by shaking up the earth and allowing the water to move in this slow, relaxed fashion, it helps to further release and break up any stagnations in the earth, in the body, and at the same time nourish all the areas of the body as well. So as the water or as the air enters into the body, it's going at that different rate and able to better penetrate and nourish the body with the breath and the chi. So that's how I think of it. And as always, if I say something and it doesn't resonate with you, then just leave it.